What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Matty B here with Matty B Wrestling, and today we are going to be talking about AEW Dynamite Grand Slam number 2. This is the second year they've done it. It was a pretty good show, I thought. Some stuff I didn't like, some stuff, of course, I did like. But let's talk about it, right? So we'll start from the bottom of the card. We had Claudio defending his Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship against none other than Chris Jericho. The match was good, of course. These guys are gonna have a good match. You know, at the end, Chris Jericho won, which I'm not a big fan of. Claudio was doing fine, I guess, as ROH champ. There wasn't really much going on with it. He defended it here and there, but of course they don't have a TV deal, so there's not much exposure to it. Hopefully Claudio losing to Jericho means there's something in the works. You know, when AEW first started, they put the title on Jericho to get some much needed publicity. Obviously, Jericho's a big name in the wrestling world. People are going to see that and want to watch it. I don't know if he holds the same weight now as he did then, but if he won for that reason, that's cool. And hopefully, they'll do a big angle and Claudio will come back and beat him in some kind of grand way. Because he won in an honorable way. And of course, you know, the Ring of Honor Championship comes with a code of honor. They shake before the match and they go on with the match, and it's supposed to be clean. Jericho won by hitting a low blow on Claudio when the ref wasn't looking, because Jericho was trying to use a bat to hit Claudio with, and it got thrown out. The ref was trying to get the bat out. He was distracted. Claudio got kicked in the nuts, and Jericho hit him with the Judas effect and won. So if it leads to something bigger that hopefully Claudio triumphs in, great. If this is just another reason to give Jericho a title with no build really and no story to it, and it just ends there, that's gonna suck. So we'll see what happens. But I guess this my opinion on this is on hold because I don't know what's gonna happen. But at face value, I wasn't a fan of it. Next match, Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory, of course. You know, they had another good match. They had a great match at All Out. They had another good match here. Um, again, there was not a distraction finish, but an interference finish. Swerve got in the face of Billy Gunn on the outside, was kind of talking crap to him. Billy Gunn got sick of it. The ref was distracted. He hit the Famouser on the outside to Swerve, threw him in the ring. The Acclaim did their thing, their finisher, and they got the win. So big pop, of course. They're the hometown boys in Queens, I believe it is, New York, wherever Arthur Ashe is. And so I hope the result wasn't just for the pop. Regardless of how good it was, it just seems too predictable at times. The way WWE books is, you know, the hometown person's always going to lose, and the way the way AEW books is like the hometown person's always going to win. It seems like so. Need to find some balance. I mean, I don't think Swerve in Our Glory's reign had reached a peak. You know, I feel like they were just getting started, and just because the Acclaimed was super over, the super over person doesn't always have to win. I don't think personally. Um, you know, it seems like the fans are booking the shows now, which, you know, give the fans what they want, yeah, but don't let them dictate. You know, if you have a story going, don't let them change the whole story just because they want to see their favorite win. So, other than that, everything was fine, I thought. And other than the interference or the cheating finish, I would say. Next was the Orange Cassidy versus Pac for the North Atlantic. What's it called? All Atlantic Championship, whatever it's called. That extra belt they didn't really need. And Pac won after, of course, cheating again. This was the third in a row where they had a cheating finish. The match was cool. It was typical Orange Cassidy match. He was slow, and then he'd come to life, and he'd do his thing, and he'd fire up. Crowd would get going. Pac would get frustrated. Blah blah blah. One thing that's super cool about Pac selling though is like there was a couple times he took a DDT and he'd pop up, he'd hit pop up and just stay bent in half. Like I'm gonna demonstrate with my Kenny Omega here. He would go like this, hit the DDT, pop up this way, and then just like stand on the mat like this, like bent in half. It was ridiculous. The selling was fantastic. The match was cool. I didn't mind it. But again, Pac went to the outside. He was hanging around the announcer's table and he grabbed the hammer used to ring the bell. Whenever Cassidy came out, he got him in a headlock, hit him with the hammer. It looked like a punch, I'm assuming to the ref, so he didn't know. And then threw him in the ring and just pinned him. So Pac retains, which is cool. But, I don't care for the 3 in a row of these cheating finishes. But yeah. So the next match was the women's 4-way. Britt Baker versus Tony Storm versus Serena Deeb versus Athena. And the match was cool. There was one spot that was kind of scary. Athena had Britt Baker on her back, and then I think Serena Deeb went for a crossbody. She caught her. So she was holding both of them, one on her front, one on her back. Walked around, kind of showed off her strength, and then went to a back body drop, I guess, on not a back body drop, but a release slam. I don't know what the hell it's called. To Deeb, who was in front of her, and poor Britt Baker, who was in her back. She fell down too early. It looked like, I don't know whose fault it was. Who knows if it was a fault? It was just an accident that happened. But Athena landed right on her face, and then Britt Baker came up with a super bloody nose, probably broken again. I'm pretty sure she had a broken nose previously. She had a broken arm and leg and all these things that happened to her. She keeps getting destroyed in matches, which is unfortunate. She's very good. But she did get hurt again. It looked like her nose was pretty bad. So best wishes to her. Hopefully it's not too serious and she's able to be back in the ring soon. As of right now, I haven't looked up or heard anything about her condition, but it looked like it sucked. So hopefully she's good. And then after that, there was an angle where Soraya debuted. Soraya, formerly known as Paige in WWE, she popped out. All the women were outside. They were kind of beating down. So Jamie Hayter came in to help Britt Baker, and it looked like she was gonna fight her, and then they looked at each other and smiled, and then they beat up Tony Storm, who won the match. Actually, Tony Storm won the match. I guess I didn't say that. But Tony Storm retained. Hayter came out, looked like her and Britt Baker were gonna go at it, and then they both looked at Tony Storm and jumped her. And then of course everyone came in. Rebel was there. They all started jumping her. Music hits, and it's Soraya, and she comes down, and everyone runs out, and Britt sold it well. Her face looked like she'd seen a ghost, which was pretty cool. And yeah, so she's there. That's a good thing. Hopefully for the women's division, which I should say needs some sort of jolt. You know, there's always promises and hopes that the women's division gets better. It hasn't yet. Sarai is a huge name for them, so hopefully she brings some sort of spark or kick in the butt for them, and they can get more than just a segment or a match on a show, and they can put some real time into the women's division in AEW. Then, of course, the final match was Moxley versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW Heavyweight Championship. Of course, released or relinquished by CM Punk after All Out and all of that shenanigans that happened. Match was great, of course, very good. Um, you know, the match you'd expect from these two. Very technical at times by Bryan, very brutal at times by Moxley. Lots of chops, lots of strike exchanges, and some stuff outside, some hard bumps. But in the end, Moxley wins clean. He does a stomp, which is an ode, I think, to Seth Rollins, who does the stomp, of course, his former Shield mate in WWE. I was waiting for him to do a Superman punch or a spear, which would have been cool, but that didn't happen. But anyways, he hit the stomp, and then he did his Death Rider or whatever it's called, the paradigm shift, and he won clean in the middle. And then the whole time MJF was watching the match, he didn't cash in. Nothing happened after that. It was just Mox wins clean and the showing off the air. After William Regal came out, it looks like it cut out a little soon because Regal was holding up the belt, and it looked like Brian got a little upset. Like maybe he wanted to hold up the belt to help Mox. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll see on Rampage, but I'm not too sure what happened there. I thought it was a good show. I just, Tony Khan always says these things before big shows. Like he promises so much, and you know, it, at this point, most of the shows he's done has lived up to the hype. But at this point, it's never gonna live up to the hype. For him to say, "It's nothing we've ever done before," this show's like nothing we've ever done before. I mean, that's a lie. Like I've seen this before in AEW, and it's great, and every time it's great. But he doesn't need to hype it up so much to where it seems like something the most ridiculous thing ever is going to happen, and it doesn't. He's just going too far with it. So he should just, if he's going to hype the show, great, but just be like, hey, it's going to be a good show. You guys are going to enjoy, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't have to say it can be the greatest thing AEW's ever done every single time they have a big show. Like it's gotten to the point where it's never going to live up to the hype, I believe. Although I think the show is fine, nothing very wrong other than I wasn't a big fan of the 3 distraction finishes. But yeah, saying the greatest show we've ever done, that's just too much, in my opinion. Sure, a lot of people disagree, and that's fine, and that's what wrestling's all about. It's opinions, and you like what you like, and you like what you don't, or you dislike what you don't like. So totally fine. I think the show was an A show. I can nitpick little things like those finishes, but that's not going to take away from the in-ring action. It was fantastic, and most of the show, like I said, was fantastic. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. Matty B Wrestling. I'll be trying to get on here more often with gaming content, with wrestling content, with my fantasy football series that I'm doing, cutting promos against the guys in my league, which is fun. So check those out. And again, I appreciate everyone who's ever subscribed and anyone who's ever supported me, whether it be on here. Check out my Twitch too. I'll be trying to stream sometimes. I'm not a consistent content creator. I just do stuff when I have time and it's fun. So check it out. It'll be sporadic, but it's fun, and y'all have a wonderful time. Peace.